I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you want to pick the 2025 Hyundai Kona Limited all-wheel drive in this Mirage green over gray on gray. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. Starting in the front, 6.9 inches of clearance up to 8.3 inches of clearance. This is the all-wheel drive, so it's going to change your suspension layout as well, which you're not getting a torsion beam like you would with the front-wheel drive. You're getting a multi-link suspension. This year, we're receiving the SEL convenience in an inline S trim. Instead of optioning features, they just have thrown in a new trim. LED daytime runnings that's going to spin across the whole hood with the flat Hyundai badging. Standard on all trims except for the Limited is combination LED headlights. This is projected headlights. Active grille shutter, satin aluminum, front parking sensors with the 360-degree reverse camera, and it's only option on the Limited trim. And going into the inline S and inline or Limited, that's going to swap that 2.0 liter 4-cylinder to give us this turbocharged 1.6 liter 4-cylinder that produces 190 horsepower with 195 pound-feet of torque. Also changing that IVT or CVT transmission to an 8-speed automatic transmission. So you're not only getting a suspension upgrade when you go this route, but you're also getting a transmission and turbocharge upgrade, as well as these 19-inch wheels that are only on the Limited trim. The inline S and inline will get an 18-inch unique wheel, the same as the grille. And when you get into the SEL convenience, that's going to be an 18-inch wheel. SE is a 17-inch wheel, and we have the auto park. We also have the smart park, which will move the vehicle forward and reverse. If someone's parked too close to you, it's only on the Limited trim, as well as the blind spot view monitoring, which uses the cameras on the side view mirror so you can see your blind spot without looking outside. It'll show you on the 12.3 gauge cluster. The roof rails, you can fit up to 165 pounds. So when you're thinking about competition like Subaru, it's not going to be off-roadsy, but you have just as much clearance and capability. The rear is going to have standard combination LED taillights, but the Limited will just have LED taillights that spin across the whole rear with the Kona print, the flat badging. The lower is not going to have the exhaust outlets. They're going to be tucked underneath. You have to go into the inline S and the inline in order to get the dual exhaust finishers, as well as the more aggressive trunk lid spoiler that makes this look like a raised sports car. And that's what these little SUVs are really for. That car feel, but yet it's lifted up off the ground enough so you have the SUV feel. Power liftgate going into 25.5 cubic feet of storage. You're gonna have a little storage bin here on the side, some bag holders with LED interior lights. Underneath the floor gets a spare tire, and you can also lower the level from top to bottom. Privacy cover, easy to remove. You just pull these little clamps right here on the side, and then it makes it easy access for someone tall like me to split fold the rear from the back. Otherwise, you have to go into the back door to maximize the 63.7 cubic feet of storage. Ten-way power seat adjustment starts on the SEL convenience, as well as heated seats. Ventilated seats is only on the Limited trim with the H-Tech leatherette seating. The sport bolstering for the inline is going to have the Alcantara Sport combination inline in black for the inline S and the inline. The interior has plenty of headroom as well as leg space. It is a driver-focused setup. You're going to have ambient lighting that starts on the inline. Bose 8 speakers as well starts on the inline. Auto dimming rear view mirror with a moonroof, LED interior lights, and a curved 1-panel 2-screen layout with a 12.3 digital reader for the center. And you have this quick wedge here that you can just toggle through, and you can also swipe it off. That way you can enlarge the screen with actual buttons that you can go through. So when you click onto home, you have your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are wirelessly. Hyundai Pay, put it into reverse. The Limited is the only trim that offers the 360-degree reverse camera. Click this sub menu, and now you can line it up for a tow. You can see the sides, and you can see the front. You can also do a 360-degree, which you can go all around the vehicle. dual climate control settings. The SEL with convenience adds the wireless charging pad, 2 USB ports. Push here and you're going to have a 12 volt. Driving mode select, which you have a few modes. You have snow, sport, and normal. This is a 12.3 digital gauge reader. You can go through an array of information for the driver. You can also change out the design layout, but you have to do it here on this screen. Just simply go into setup, go into screen layout, and then you can change the gauge cluster layout here. When you use your indicators, like I showed you on the exterior, you can see the blind spot view monitoring on either side with a leather-wrapped steering wheel. It's heated multi-function with the paddle shifts. The gear lever is now attached to the steering column for the refresh, and you have your heated ventilated seat switches here, plus a large storage, push, push, and now you have cup holders and the key fob for the Kona. This is pushed back a little bit, it's a little sporty, opens up, you have a storage tray, lifts up into a deep storage pocket. What I like about it though is it's open. Put things in here without opening this, which if you're a passenger, you're not going to bother the driver, and you have this little lip here that'll hold anything so it doesn't go all over the place. The door panel and dashboard configuring together, and it's going to have more of a sporty design, soft materials where it needs to be, only one touch up and down for the windows with a long storage pocket. For the back seats, I can actually fit with headroom as well as leg space, but with the limited trim, I would like to see the storage with the neck behind the driver's seat. We do get the charging ports, air vents in the center, cup holders with armrests. Fold that up so you can see how it's in the center. As for the door, it's stripped of all the soft materials and you only get a beverage holder carved out. Sliding into the center, the floor is not flat. You're going to be sharing some feet space, but it's pretty wide for the most part. Butt, leg, and shoulder space is not going to be too bad, but knee space becomes a little bit hard for somebody at 6'3". However, headroom, I could still fit. We're not getting the 2.0 liter, we're getting the 1.6 liter turbocharged 4. Now, when you're talking about horsepower, you got an increase. Standard is 147. Inline S and up, or even going into this trim, 190. That's 53 horsepower more. Now with torque, 132, we got 195. That's 63 pound-feet of torque more. No IVT transmission, no Torsen beam rear suspension, all-wheel drive setup, plus 8-speed automatic transmission. I mean, it's ticking the box for me. That's got to be the second reason why I would choose this trim. I like the inline S and the inline, don't get me wrong, but then you're not getting the 360-degree reverse camera, you're not getting the blind spot view monitoring. These features to me are amazing, especially when you're talking about a price that's under 36 grand. There's not a lot of vehicles that give you that much. Unfortunately, because of the weather conditions, you're not going to see a lot of the performance, but I have reviewed the 24 model so you can see the performance there. One con right off the bat that you're noticing is the windshield wipers. The back and the front are on high, and it's still hard to view through all this rain. But on the Pro, we have enough clearance that we can actually drive through it. So that is a good thing. And as you're seeing in Florida, 1 minute it's nice and sunny, next minute, crazy storm. Comfort to the ride is good. 19-inch wheels. I'm not feeling too many of the imperfections. Let me give her a little go. All-wheel drive, so we're staying in the road. But because of the size of the wheel and because it is a little lower to the ground, we are starting to get washed with all of this rain, which for me is a con because this is still somewhat of an SUV, even though it feels like a car. But I do like the practical and small use of it, plus the fact that we're getting so much power underneath the hood for such a small example of a vehicle. Some cons to the vehicle: if you get anything under the inline S, you're getting the slower engine, you're getting the IVT transmission, you will be getting optimal fuel economy, and some other cons is you can't get some of the features that's on the Limited, which I like that it's unique to its trim, but come on, let me be able to option it with the inline because I like the styling of the wheels too. Turn radius is going to be actually tight. It's about 1.5 lanes to 2 lanes. Let's rock and roll. And honestly, it's hard to do the speed limit because the windshield wipers are just not fast enough. And ultimately, the problem that I have with these smaller vehicles is the size. When it is raining in bad conditions, it's a little bit harder to drive these vehicles. The pro is you can maneuver in and out. The steering wheel is light. The drive to it is comfortable. The seats have a good cushion to it as well. Back seat, you have plenty of room to fit 3 occupants, plenty of charging ports. So for a daily practical car, it definitely ticks the box. Going against rivals like Honda and Toyota, I like this a little bit more, only because pricing, you're gonna get a huge savings, a better warranty, more features in the interior, but then on the con, they're going just like Toyota and Honda. It is now tier-based. You can't really feature the vehicle. And the last reason why I would choose the limited trim is it doesn't feel like a taxi cab. It actually feels like an upscale sedan slash SUV. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Gettle Hyundai of Lakewood for giving us this 2025 Hyundai Kona Limited for our car review.